So, thanks once again for joining. Just start off with some quick introductions, a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the content of the webinar itself. So to start, my name's Jamie. I'm joined here with my colleague Ali. We both work in the growth team here at PortSwigger, primarily working with customers to try and help them get the most out of Burp Suite Enterprise Edition. In terms of housekeeping, just as an FYI, we won't be running a live Q&A session today, but we do encourage you to ask questions throughout the session using the chat function. Ali and I will then take those away, review those, and we'll follow up alongside the recording of this session over the next couple of days. Just also wanted to confirm this particular webinar is focused on educating our reseller community. We do have another webinar that's running tomorrow at a very similar time that's focused on more of our direct customer base. So if that's more appropriate for you, then please feel free to join that tomorrow. But just to reiterate, this particular session is focused on our reseller community. So what we'll be covering in the next probably 25 minutes, Ali and I had a run through before, it was about 20 to 25 minutes. So should give plenty of time to cover the content that we need. First off, we'll be looking at some customer challenges. So we ran a webinar about a month or so ago's time, and which was very well attended, and we captured lots of insights from that webinar through surveys that we ran that we'd like to share with you all today. Alongside this, we'll be covering how two of our key products work and ultimately how they're positioned within the marketplace. The first being Burp Suite Professional, or Pro as it's more commonly known, and also our Burp Suite Enterprise Edition. We will be focusing more on Enterprise today, and specifically Enterprise in the cloud, but we will be touching on Pro very briefly in a couple of moments' time. Ali will then take you through procurement and renewals and the process that we recommend for resellers to essentially procure and renew our products. And then finally, some resources and support that we have created and made available to our reseller community to help support that process of essentially positioning Burp Suite to customers and prospects. So as promised, we'll start off diving into a little bit around customer challenges. We do speak to our customers on a very, very regular basis. We do pride ourselves in being a customer-centric organization. And essentially, we'd like to share some of those insights that we've gathered directly from our customers on what challenges that they're experiencing within AppSec in 2024 to try and help you or aid you in conversations ultimately with your customers who may be looking to explore DAST or application security tooling. So what are the main challenges that resonate with our customers? So again, as I mentioned, we ran a survey about a month or so ago's time, and these were some of the key statistics that we took away from that. So one of the headlines here is that manual testing will only scale to a certain degree. 88% of organizations are still using manual testing as one of their key means of application security testing. The majority of those are human-led, and manual testing is still very key to making sure that applications are secure within organizations. One of the main concerns or challenges that we find with manual testing is that it's not often scalable. As you go into sort of hundreds and thousands of apps within an organization, it can be very difficult to manually test those on a regular basis due to the sort of time, resource, and cost implications. And to demonstrate that, 44% of those organizations that we surveyed have started to tackle that problem by scaling into automated DAST scanning. Other insights that we found from a development or from a developer lens is that as dev teams and applications portfolios grow, security teams are feeling increasingly outnumbered, with around 50% of the survey respondents telling us that development release cycles are outpacing application security teams' ability to secure applications. Obviously, a growing problem within organizations. And then finally, one of the key themes that we took away was that web app attack surface visibility is lacking, with 60% of organizations feeling that they don't have visibility of their entire web app attack surface, leading towards a problem with prioritization and making sure that the precious resources that organizations have to combat application security, they're struggling to find ultimately where they should be prioritizing those. So hopefully that was insightful. We certainly took that away, and it was really useful for us to try and feed that back into our development teams and to our growth teams here at PortSwigger to try and make sure that we are coming up with solutions and recommendations on how we can support tackling those common challenges within the AppSec industry. So some of the common approaches that are now being taken to scale within our customer base. There are lots of different approaches that are taken towards application security, and these are some of the main themes that we see and that we hear from our customers. I won't go into each of these in a lot of detail. I'll just pick out 2 or 3 which I think are probably most relevant. The first being manual testing. So, as I think as credit to the statistic that I mentioned before, 88% of organizations are using manual testing. I think this is manual testing is still one of the most commonly used mechanisms to tackle application security within organizations. A lot of application security teams do start their security journey with manual testing, but then as their application portfolio grows, it is very difficult to scale into manual testing for all of those applications on a regular cadence. Again, to reiterate the points I made before, time, resource, and cost tend to be the biggest constraints to scaling manual testing. From a securing pipelines perspective, again, a lot of the organizations we work with have development teams, and an ongoing challenge, an approach, I suppose, to application security is making sure that those developers are using the right tools and essentially assessing those applications very early in the software development lifecycle. A lot of the organizations we speak to have mentioned or referenced using static application security testing and source code or source composition analysis tools that have been increasingly using DAST or dynamic application security testing tools to aid them in that journey as well, and use those tools, to use all of those tools complementary together and to make sure that applications are being assessed for security at the highest level. And then finally, the last one that I'll talk through quite briefly is automated scanning, which is firmly where Burp Suite Enterprise Edition certainly sits. And the feedback that we had around automated scanning is that it really does help organizations scale. There has been a bit of a few issues that organizations have had around DAST scanning in general, in terms of the quality, the performance, and the false positive that they get back. And the feedback that we've had is that it's more important than ever for them to choose the right tool to make sure that actually the tool that they're implementing to solve the problem of scalability is indeed helping them scale, but not without compromising on the quality of the results. So this then leads us on to, I guess, PortSwigger. So how can PortSwigger help solve customers' problems, I suppose? So a bit of a history on PortSwigger for those who aren't aware. We've been around for the best part of 20 years and have been pioneers in security research throughout that time. We research extremely regularly. We have a team here that constantly feeds into our products and makes sure that we are at the forefront of application security, and that our products are equally at that space as well. So from a product perspective, we have 2 key products in the marketplace at the moment. We've got our Burp Suite Professional, which most of you, I'm sure, will be most familiar with. Burp Suite Professional has been around pretty much as long as PortSwigger has been around. It's used as a gold standard penetration tested manual toolkit. I think it's probably the best way to describe it. And it's used by about 17,000 organizations worldwide, also 160 countries. So extremely well adopted across the application security industry across penetration testing and the community alike. So I won't go too much more into our pro or professional tool today. The focus of today's session is around Enterprise Edition and ultimately Enterprise Edition in the cloud, which I'll come to in a bit more detail shortly. So what is Burp Suite Enterprise Edition? So Enterprise Edition is PortSwigger's automated DAST scanning solution. We launched it back in 2018 and it's predominantly aimed at application security and development teams. That's our target market for this tool. So from a reseller perspective, again, that's the focus of this session is on resellers. Really what we wanted to try and educate our reseller community around is the type of organizations or the problems that organizations have that in reality we look out for, which ultimately we suggest resellers look out for as well. So if customers and organizations are coming to you saying that they want to schedule automated scans to scale their scanning, to trigger scans from CI pipelines and maintain a centralized dashboard for a growing or multiple teams, then ultimately those are the kind of hooks that we'd recommend where Burp Suite Enterprise Edition should be introduced into the conversation. Obviously, as well, if organizations are looking for pure play DAST scanning, then ultimately we believe we have one of the best tools in the marketplace. So those are the types of organizations and the types of use case that we tend to look for. Some of the key benefits, I guess, of Burp Suite Enterprise Edition. One of our particularly unique selling points is that we don't have any restrictions on the number of users or applications that can be onboarded onto the platform. That is quite unique in the dynamic application security testing tooling space. We also have very user-friendly UIs. We've got a team of UX designers here who work tirelessly on making sure that the information is as consumable as possible. We've got predefined custom scanning options based on our internal recommendations and research on what should be scanned and how it should be scanned. We offer free support with our subscription models. So the support is included if you have any issues, and ultimately you can reach out to us as much as you need to. And to date, traditionally, Burp Suite Enterprise Edition has been primarily, or has only been a self-hosted solution, which obviously requires our customers and then, I suppose, in turn, reseller customers as well, to set up their own infrastructure and essentially manage that infrastructure of networking, etc., themselves. So, albeit great tool, has had that slight overhead, I suppose, in terms of the additional resource and infrastructure that's required to run the tool, as with any self-hosted software. However, now available in the cloud is Burp Suite Enterprise Edition. So, Burp Suite Enterprise Edition in the cloud is hosted entirely on PortSwigger's own secure network. So no need for customers to set up their own infrastructure and incur any additional costs. I've seen firsthand customers who are either demoing or they've been onboarded following purchase of the license. They have been onboarded within a mere sort of 10, 15 minutes maximum. It really is very easy for the stack to spin up, to get logged in and start scanning and assigning obviously access to relevant teams. So in terms of an out-the-box, readily available, quick solution to get people on board and to get scanning quickly, Burp Suite Enterprise Edition in the cloud enables that. There's also no maintenance. And one of the key benefits as well is that our Burp Suite Enterprise Edition cloud solution has exactly the same features as our enterprise solution as well. We haven't removed anything. Essentially, all the benefits that customers get through Enterprise Edition self-hosted today, they also benefit that through our cloud option as well. So I think I've covered a couple of these in high-level detail, but just to scratch away from the surface a little bit, I think as I reiterated from 2018 to date, and as we continue to, we will still offer self-hosted for Burp Suite Enterprise Edition. We now, as of early on this month, we have the cloud option where essentially we can host everything for customers. It could be the dashboard, it could be the scanning machines or agents, etc. And we host all of that, so it's very sort of ready to go from a customer point of view. Or alternatively, we do have some customers who prefer a more hybrid solution, and that's because perhaps they have segregated networks or they want scanning to happen in a non-internet facing location, for example. Essentially, we can set up different solutions depending on what the customer's requirements are, but a blend of either cloud and self-hosted or pure play self-hosted and cloud, depending on what the need of the customer is. You can kind of pick and choose what setup that you want. And that is essentially designed to try and cater for every single scenario that would be needed from our customer base. And then finally, just wanted to talk about the two different subscription options that we offer for both Enterprise Edition self-hosted, but more importantly for Burp Suite Enterprise Edition in the cloud as well. So just a brief reminder that I suppose across all of our subscription options, again, to reiterate that USP, we have no limit on applications that can be onboarded onto the platform, and there's no limit on users either as well. So traditionally, within sort of the DAST space, a lot of vendors or suppliers charge based on FQDNs. Our USP here is that we do not do that. We offer unlimited applications and unlimited users, irrespective of the subscription type that you have. The classic model is essentially offers the flexibility to scan an unlimited number of applications, but with a fixed number of concurrent scans. So just to clarify, concurrent scans is essentially the number of applications that you wish to scan at the same time. So if you have 100 applications, for example, and you think that you may wish to scan at least 5 to 10 at any point in time at the same time, then ultimately 5 or 10 concurrent scans would be what we'd recommend on that basis. Unlimited, I think as the name suggests, no application limits, no user limits, and most importantly, there is no limit to the number of scans that can be run and can be run concurrently. So where we've seen the best adoption of unlimited is sort of medium to large organizations, having the sort of hundreds of thousands of applications, knowing that they are increasing that number of applications as well. And we've seen a lot of success in that particular subscription type for those organizations who have heavy scanning requirements, both from a UI, but also from a CI-driven perspective as well with the development pipelines. I'll now hand over to Ali to give you a bit of an overview in terms of the process around procurement and renewal.
Perfect. Thanks, Jamie. So we wanted to touch a little bit now on what you can actually do to procure Burp Suite or for your customers. And we've also got our Reseller Resource Center as well, which I'll show you in just a second. So one of the key things that you may need to do for your customers is generate quotes. Now, if you want to generate a new quote for a new order, both Burp Suite Enterprise Edition and Burp Suite Professional, you can self-serve on our website by generating quotations. When you're generating those quotations, it's really important that you provide the right details for the end user or the customer. The person who's enlisted on that particular quote and order form on the customer side is the person that will be in charge of managing the licenses, managing the subscription. So it's important that you enter the right details there. All our quotations are valid for 90 days. So once you've generated one, it's valid for that time. And the way our quotations work, they provide us a URL link. So once you've generated that quotation, and we'll go through this in a second, you can just save that URL. And whenever you're ready to make payment on behalf of the customer, you can go through that quotation and do that there through our secure payment portal. Now, that's all for new orders. So that's the new customers that come in and are asking you for some quotes. If you're working with existing customers who are coming up for a renewal or who want some subscription amendments, then the process is slightly different. So we start sending out quotations automatically, some renewal reminder quotations up to 120 days in advance of the expiry date. And it might not necessarily always be the same person at that reseller organization who's involved. So if you do need some help, you're not getting that automatic renewal reminder, or you've just got potentially a new customer that you're going to renew their subscription for, please email the customer experience team on the email there, hello@portswigger.net. We'll be able to generate the renewal quotation for you. All that we ask before you email in is just that you provide some of that key customer details. So we'd really like the previous PortSwigger order number, that's the order reference, the end user or the customer's email address that is actually working with the license and subscription. And if you've added previously your own PO number for that order, we can also search via that way as well. So that's for renewals. And let's also say, you're 6 months into a subscription, the customer comes back and says, actually, I need to add some more concurrent scans, or I need to add some more users onto that particular subscription. Please email into us at the email address there, because then we can actually help create that quote so it's prorated up to the expiry date, and you don't have to purchase a brand new subscription at full price. So slightly different between the renewals and amendments and the new orders. But also for Burp Suite Enterprise, as Jamie's gone through, there's definitely a few extra things to consider in comparison to Burp Suite Professional. You've got your different hosting options and the different subscription plans. So if you do need some help, or your customers have some further requirements that you'd like to discuss, we do have an advocacy team here at PortSwigger who will be able to answer some of those questions and make sure that we're purchasing the right subscription, picking the right number of concurrent scans if they want to choose those as well. So if you do need some help specifically with Burp Suite Enterprise on behalf of the customer, please reach out to us and we'll be able to guide you in the right direction. So in terms of the assets and support, we just wanted to run through, we've recently launched our revamped Reseller Resource Center. So this can be accessed from our website. If you're ever on our website and you see the 3 lines or the burger menu here in the top right-hand corner on the navigation pane, just drop down to the bottom there to resellers, and then you'll jump into our Reseller Resource Center. So this will have all the information we've just shown you on the slides. For Burp Suite Professional, you can click through to the main product pages here for our manual penetration testing tool. If you want to generate new quotes, place a new order directly, then you can do that. So through here, we've got the links. And again, like if you want to do anything with the renewals and amendments, please just contact us. And we've also got some information here that you can pass on to your customers to help them get started as well. Similarly, we've got the same thing for Burp Suite Enterprise Edition. So exactly the same layout here. We've also put some really key information in that will help for you to understand the difference between the products. And when customers are asking those questions, you can find out which one would be most suited to them. And then for Burp Suite Enterprise, we do have the more information here on the hosting options and the different subscription plans too. And then right at the bottom, we'll just put an FAQ section in there. So that's probably some of the main things that you'll want to ask. And hopefully that will provide you with the answers to some of the key things that you're looking for. So check this out as a first port of call for any kind of information that you may need and if you want to place a new order. So just thought it'd be useful just to show you as well how you'd go about that. So let's say potentially you've got a new prospect now who's interested in the Burp Suite Enterprise Edition quote, and you know exactly what they want. You can just pop onto the website here, go onto the Get a Quote page. And you'll notice now it will automatically select that you're a reseller purchasing on behalf of a customer. So you're not purchasing directly for yourself. You're acting on behalf of the customer and purchasing it for them. We do just add a little reminder here that this is specifically only for new customer orders only. If you're looking to renew or add some additional concurrent scans and edit an existing subscription, please do email us at that email address. And then when you're going through the quote option here, you will see the two environment options that Jamie's mentioned and the two subscriptions options, cloud, self-hosted, classic or unlimited. So for classic, which is where you choose the number of concurrent scans when speaking with your customer, in the example that Jamie gave, we might want to put that down to 10. And then you can also on this page choose the subscription term. So for cloud here, we can have it as a 1 year or a 2 year subscription. And then you can click continue to get through to the next page, which is where you will add your details. So if I just very quickly add something in here. I don't need to add any address, but please make sure you do when you're filling in these forms. And then the customer details is basically who will be actually responsible for managing Burp Suite Enterprise Edition in this case at the customer side. So please ensure that when you are placing these orders, you speak with the customer first to make sure you've got the right contact down there, because they're the one who will get the emails to help set up and get onboarded with Burp Suite Enterprise. So I'll just add some information in here. Just call this PortSwigger. And then once I go through onto the final page here, I've basically got my key information. I can choose the currency that I want to pay in. It's defaulting to GBP, basically where we are. So I'm going to switch that to USD. I'll get a little summary here, which will say it's cloud, 2 year subscription on the classic plan with 10 concurrent scans. I get a subtotal on the VAT and then my total here as well. Now your order number, which is displayed here, this is the really key piece of information that we require whenever you're placing renewal orders or making amendments to subscriptions. So it's displayed here, but also on the quote. So please keep a note of this particular order number. And you'll notice here below, if you want to view the quote or more primarily want to view the invoice, you can do that from here. I'll just open the quote now. And you'll notice we've got that order number here on the top right-hand corner, which is that key bit of information. If you do need to make any changes to your quotation, you can edit the buttons here. Perhaps as well, we find that once you've sent that quote out and you've got agreed a price with the customer, you'll then raise a purchase order. So it's really helpful to add that purchase order onto the quote here. So then both you and us have got that for reference for renewals. And then you'll see the description here. So just double check that you've got the right thing that you're actually asking for, your customer has got. And then when you're ready, you can either pay online or you can pay by bank transfer. When you pay online, this will take you back onto the order summary page here, and you can go back and you can have a purchase order number here if you want to as well. And you've got the different payment options. So pay directly by card, PayPal, or bank transfer. So that's the main way to take you through to purchasing for a renew. Just to remind again, if it's for a renewal, please email us. We've got here on the purchase support page. So hello@portswigger.net. That will come through to my team, and we'll be able to pick up any questions that you've got there on your renewals or your amendments, or if you've got some questions around Burp Suite Enterprise. And we've also got a technical support team as well here, which can really help your customers if they've got any problems on the technical level. So those are the main things that we wanted to run through today. So thanks very much for joining. If you do have any customers interested in any of our products and want to know more about Burp Suite Enterprise, then please get in touch via email. We'll be sending over the email some of the answers to the questions that you've put through today as well, and a link to this recording, as well as the Burp Suite Resource Center. So thank you very much for joining, and we'll see you soon.